Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. Formula E kicks off in Diriyah in just a few days, and it seems like an age ago we were talking about the chaotic final race that saw out the 2021 Formula E season. But as we go again for 2022, it's time to, once again, pretend I know anything about car and livery design and rate the Formula E liveries from worst to best. Now obviously this is subjective, so make sure you tell me what you think in the comments below. And remember to subscribe because we have some more Formula E content coming out this week. With that, let's take a look at the 2022 or Season 8 Formula E liveries. Mercedes. Given that this is their final year in Formula E, there was an opportunity here to do something radical and different. Being the cold and heartless corporate machine, Mercedes didn't do that. It looks nearly identical to last year. In fact, it might be identical to last year. You are the champions. Would a splash of colour really go amiss? Mercedes just don't do interesting liveries, and this boring corporate silver grey colour will not be missed when they disappear from the Formula E grid. Andretti. Big changes for this team as their partnership with BMW has come to an end, and the Andretti team look to go it alone. So we say goodbye to the BMW livery and look forward to something new. This livery is dreadful. Firstly, why red? There are already so many red cars in Formula E. Surely you could look down the grid and say, maybe we can stand out against everyone else by being a different colour. Or is there just an excess of red paint lying around motorsport team garages? Secondly, and what really finishes it off for me, is the sash. Why? Your car looks like the last place contestant in the Miss Wigan competition. A really misguided livery for Andretti, and also a common theme on this list will be the fact that the majority of the cars are red. Nissan. Likewise, Nissan have also added more red. Screw the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, there needs to be an FIA review on the use of red in Formula E. I have never really liked the Nissan livery since they changed from Edam's Renault, but they did tend to be neat if not interesting. This isn't better, mostly red with a bit of black and absolutely no identity of its own. You won't notice this car on track, and if performances are anything like last year, you won't need to. There have been some great looking Nissan liveries in the past, why can't they do that here? Jaguar. I have always liked the Jaguar livery, the blend of black and the kind of turquoise aqua colour just really works for me. So how do you ruin it? Slap on as many sponsor logos as possible, at complete random, as if you invited Stevie Wonder to slap stickers on with his shotgun in the dark. This car is now very busy, the Tata logo is taking up too much space both on top and on the side, the back end still has the dots, there's this white Jaguar stripe on the airbox, it's almost over-designed. Jaguar had the second favourite livery on the list last year, so to sink so low when the basic design is the same is shocking and disappointing. Hopefully they make big changes for next year, or they may sink lower on this list. At least it isn't red, I guess. Neo. I haven't really liked Neo liveries for a couple of years now. Their car from a couple of years ago was one of the most hideous race cars I've ever seen, and last year was a small improvement on that. But they have taken another step forward, so whoever designs their liveries is getting better with practice. We might even get an amazing livery in 10 years time. It doesn't look too different from one of the old Virgin liveries, so instead of getting better at designing, maybe they've got better at copying. And it's hard to tell from the launch photos, but those lines going up the side and front do stand out quite a bit. But I'm still not sure. It's better, but it's not great, and I think it's just a mix of colours to me. Still, they're going in the right direction. Porsche. Again, trust a German team to be incredibly efficient with their liveries. They haven't changed at all in the 3 years they've been on the grid, and to be honest, this livery is starting to bore me. It's really not that bad, just very uninspired. Business meetings at Porsche must last about 5 minutes because they don't make radical changes. A bigger deal has been made on the Porsche safety car that's being used in 2022, and that says a lot. Techeetah. Again, nothing big from Techeetah. They've stuck to the black and gold, and I'll allow it because it's just very different from everything else on the grid. It's fine, and with the future of DS hanging in the balance, there's a possibility we may get something different next year, if Techeetah stick around. The colours are put together very well, but as they've had this livery for a while now, that should be expected as a minimum. Venturi. It's nothing amazing, just a very neat black with the Rocket logo in white, and it fits. It's almost the standard Rocket livery you see in many formulas these days, and I do like it. It's not mind-blowing, just very neat and tidy. It's lost the white from last year and is now completely black, and whilst I maybe would have liked a bit of colour somewhere, there's nothing wrong with just a very neat livery. Venturi may have the 4th best livery on this list, but I don't love it, I just don't hate it. Dragon. This was my favourite livery from last year, and honestly I do still like it a lot. In fact, of the 11 teams, there are only 3 liveries on this list that I would actually say I like. And the first is Dragon. Same nice shade of red and white combination. It still looks great, kind of ruined by the amount of red on the grid, but if you're going to do it well. And Dragon have done it very well. It's not different from last year, but it was a livery worth keeping. Mahindra. If you're going to do a red car on a grid with so many red cars, how can you stand out? By going for the most outrageous shade of red you can find, of course, although I feel like Mahindra have raided Ferrari's supply cupboard. This is a very bold red and is highlighted with the small blue logos. There is a nice pattern on the back of the car, and it is my second favourite on the grid. Not a bad turnaround, seeing as Mahindra had one of the worst liveries on the grid last year. This will fall down the list if the red looks more normal on TV than it does in the launch pictures, which is potentially an issue. Envision. Now this is how you do a rebrand. Virgin are out as a partner, and Envision have taken over the team and slapped a stunning green livery on the car. It really stands out in this field of red, white and black. I'll miss the purple of the Virgin cars. They did really have an identity of their own, but they had a very bland livery last year that was actually the second worst on that list. Now this green livery is fitting for the series, and the fact it's owned by an energy company. It's one of the best in Formula E history. It's the perfect shade of blue to offset the very bright green. The sponsor logos are very neatly done. This is very nearly a 10 out of 10 livery. There might be a few too many sponsor logos on the front, but otherwise this is an amazing livery and I can't wait to see it in action. So that is the list of Formula E 2022 liveries from worst to best. Envision really knocked it out of the park, at least in my eyes. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Remember to subscribe for more Formula E content this week and more motorsport content going forward. Leave a like, tell your friends. Thank you for watching and have a good one.